The galaxy gathered to watch a man die. They locked him in a pit with creatures older than war dragons that had devoured champions from 10 worlds. No one expected him to survive. But when the screaming stopped, only one heartbeat remained. Before we dive deep into the story, subscribe to the channel so you never miss powerful and thought-provoking stories. Let's go in deep. The pit was not built for survival. It was built for spectacle. A circular arena carved into the black rock of Krivon 6. The pit stretched 500 feet wide and hundreds more below. Its walls were scorched, scarred with claw marks, and stained with the remains of those who came before. Above it, seats shaped like thrones curved around the edge, filled with aliens in armor, robes, and war medals, cheering for blood. At the center of the pit, fire-breathed, massive stone gates were sealed at all 4 corners. Behind each gate lived a dragon, not fantasy creatures, but real, genetically forged beasts designed by the Dominion during the First Age of War. Each dragon was the size of a warship, covered in obsidian black scales, eyes glowing like coals, and wings that could shatter air. They were not tools of battle anymore. They were punishment. And today's sentence? A human male, unnamed, unarmed. Dropped in without armor or escort. No explanation. No crime listed. Just a single message broadcast across Dominion systems. Observe what becomes of Earth's pride. The crowd roared. Some laughed. Others exchanged bets. A few watched with quiet disgust, but no one spoke against it. The pit was ancient. The dragons were older, and the man who stood alone beneath their flame did not speak either. He just looked up once, squinting through the smoke. Then he stretched his arms, slow, deliberate, and waited. The gates began to open, and the fire inside. The walls began to rise. They did not even give him a name. To the Dominion, he was a number, Subject 47 Theta, the latest in a long list of condemned humans tested against the impossible. No charges were announced. No trial was held. No explanation was needed. His species alone had become justification. He had no armor, no weapons. Just loose, dust-covered clothes, torn at the sleeves. His boots were scorched from a journey that left no trail. Around his neck hung a small metal tag, one worn thin by time, its surface blank. The guards who escorted him to the pit did not speak. They did not look at him. He was supposed to die. Quickly, painfully, visibly, but as the gates behind him slammed shut and the fire vents in the walls lit up with that deep orange glow. He did not scream. He did not panic. He did not run. He stood still in the center of the pit, feet planted, back straight, eyes closed. Not in surrender, but in silence. High above, some alien spectators leaned forward. A few zoomed in on his face. No fear, no tension, just stillness. Like a predator listening for movement in the tall grass. One Dominion officer watching from the upper deck frowned. Where is his fear? A voice beside him whispered, "He is from Earth." The officer scoffed, and the reply came flat. Earth is where predators come from. Below, the man slowly opened his eyes as the dragon's roar split the sky, and he smiled. The dragons were not just beasts. They were legacy, created in the early days of the Dominion, when war was still raw and conquest was personal. The dragons had once served as living weapons, bioengineered monsters fused with ancient DNA and enhanced by Dominion technology. Their breath melted steel. Their wings collapsed bunkers. Their claws could tear through tanks. But as the Dominion expanded, the dragons became something else. A symbol. They were no longer used in battles. The Empire did not need them to win wars anymore. It used them to remind others what happened to those who disobeyed, to those who resisted, to those who questioned Dominion power. The pit was their stage. And the dragons were executioners dressed in fire and bone. No one survived them, not once in 92 cycles. Prisoners were dragged in, tossed at the gates like sacrifices. Some cried. Some begged. Others tried to run. The dragons never rushed. They stalked, they studied, then they struck. And the result was always the same. The crowds loved it. The fear fed the Empire's control. It kept systems in line. It crushed hope before it could grow. So when a human rebel cell was uncovered, and whispers of Earth's defiance reached Dominion ears, the response was simple: send a message. Use the pit. Show the stars that even Earth's strongest will burn like all the rest. But this time, the dragons were not the message. They were about to become the warning. The first gate opened with a thunderous groan. A wave of heat rolled across the pit as the ancient hinges screamed, revealing the black-mouthed tunnel behind it. From within came the sound of claws scraping stone, followed by a slow exhale that turned the air to smoke. The crowd held its breath, and then it stepped out, a beast of legend, bred in laboratories but shaped like nightmares. Its scales shimmered with magma heat. Horns curved like obsidian blades from the back of its skull. Each step it took cracked the floor beneath it. Its breath hissed like boiling acid. The dragon scanned the arena once, then locked eyes on the human. He did not move. The creature growled, a low rumble that shook the stone walls. Its wings flexed once, massive and jagged. It was waiting for a reaction, a stumble, a flinch, a step back, but the man only tilted his head. As if studying it, the dragon took a step forward. Fire licked its lips. And the human moved, not back. Forward. Slowly. One step. Two. The audience stirred. The guards watching from the upper decks exchanged confused glances. One muttered, "He is walking toward it." The dragon paused. For the first time in its life, it hesitated. The man's eyes did not blink. His hands did not rise. He simply approached, each step measured, silent. And then he stopped, just a few feet away from the creature's snout. Dragon lowered its head slightly, smoke curling from its nostrils. And the human did something no one had done in all recorded history. He leaned forward and whispered something. The dragon snarled in reply, coiling its body. The crowd leaned in. And in the next moment, the pit exploded in fire. From the observation decks above the pit, the Dominion guards had a perfect view, and they were trained to remain emotionless, even when the crowd below erupted in cheers or horror. But this time, they were silent. The explosion of fire had filled the arena. Flames licked the stone walls. Dust rose in a massive wave. The dragon's roar echoed like thunder, and yet, when the smoke began to clear, the human was still standing. Unburned. Unmoving. The guards leaned closer to their screens. He stood in the same spot, head bowed, hand raised, resting gently on the side of the dragon's neck. The beast was not attacking. It was still, breathing hard. Watching him, one officer narrowed his eyes. "Is that creature submitting?" Another whispered, "It cannot be. They are engineered to kill anything that enters the pit." The lead commander ordered a full biometric scan. The system returned 2 alerts: elevated temperature and minor cardiac acceleration, but not from the man, from the dragon. The predator was afraid, and the human was calm. Across the control room, whispers turned to quiet panic. These guards had overseen dozens of executions. They had seen warriors, mutants, even hybrid creatures fall in minutes. But they had never seen this. "He is not fighting," one said. "No," replied another, voice tight. "He is communicating." The dragon pulled back slightly, its massive eye blinking once, not in rage but in recognition. And then, for the first time since the pit's creation, the dragon stepped back. Voluntarily. The crowd's noise faltered, and the guards finally understood. This was not a mistake. This was something planned. Something human. The dragon circled him once. Its claws carved lines into the floor. Its wings folded in, but its muscles stayed tense, ready to strike, to burn, to crush. The human had not run. He had not fought. He had only watched, and walked straight into the beast's shadow without fear. The audience expected a sudden kill, a surprise blast of fire, something, but instead, the man moved. No roar, no scream. Just a blur, one step, a twist of his body, and the flash of something silver reflecting the dragon's fire. No one saw where the blade came from. It was not Dominion tech. It was not visible until it moved. Thin, silent, designed not for power, but for precision. The dragon lunged, but it was already too late. In a single motion, the man shifted under its neck, slid forward, and the blade found the exact point. Between armored scales. One strike. Not wild, not loud. Perfect. The dragon landed heavily, its breath caught mid-roar. It staggered, eyes wide. The man stepped back, holding the blade low, his face unreadable. The crowd stood in stunned silence. And then, the dragon collapsed. The pit floor trembled as its body hit stone. Its wings twitched once, then lay still. Dead. No one cheered. Not even the guards. They had seen many things in that pit, but never this. The man had not fought for survival. He had hunted, and that dragon, that symbol of Dominion fear, was nothing more than his first kill. The dragon's body lay motionless, smoke curling from its nostrils, blood pooling beneath its neck in thick, molten streams. And the man? He stood calm, still holding the blade that none of them saw him draw. Eyes fixed not on the crowd, but on the next gate. Something changed in that moment. Not in the pit. In the air. The crowd no longer shouted. They no longer laughed, even the ones who came only to mock, to feast, to celebrate a human's death, now stared in complete silence. They had seen dragons kill before, but they had never seen one fall, and not like this. Not from another beast. Not from bombs or energy cannons. But from a single man who did not roar, did not boast, did not ask for mercy. He moved like he belonged in the pit, like he was born there, high above. Dominion officials began moving in their control booths. Commands were whispered. Orders were updated. One general ordered backup dragons to be prepared, but his voice shook as he spoke. On the ground, the guards posted at each gate stepped away from their consoles. For the first time in the pit's history, they were afraid of what might come out next. And even more afraid of what was already inside. The sensors scanned the man again. No power readings, no tech implants, no support gear. Nothing that explained what he had done, just a slow rising heartbeat, steady, focused, patient. He was not done. He had only just begun. And now, the crowd understood. The human was not surviving the pit, he was claiming it. A second gate groaned open. This time, the fire came first, a pillar of flame. Shot into the sky, twisting like a serpent before it vanished into smoke. The beast that followed was twice the size of the first. Its wings were scarred from past battles, and its tail slammed the stone as it emerged, cracking the pit floor. The crowd leaned in. Maybe this one would finish what the first could not. Dragon's eyes locked onto the human, and it let out a sound, not a roar, but a low, drawn-out growl. Not challenge, not anger. Recognition. The human turned slowly. No surprise in his face, no fear, just readiness. He rolled his shoulders once and dropped the blade. Gasps echoed across the viewing decks. Why is he letting it go? One officer whispered. But then, the human crouched, hands flat, knees bent, posture tight. He moved like something ancient. Not like a man trained by tech, but like something Earth had buried in blood and instinct. The dragon charged. The human did not run. He met the charge head-on, twisting beneath the swipe of its claw, sliding along its belly, and striking at pressure points no Dominion soldier would know. No scanners could predict the path he moved in. He was too fluid, too quiet, too fast. The crowd watched in stunned silence as the dragon recoiled, wounded and staggering. Its breathing grew shallow. Its strikes grew wild. It was no longer hunting. It was panicking. Because something inside it, something old, understood what everyone else was just beginning to realize. The man in the pit was not prey. He was not a mistake. He was not the one being tested. He was the apex predator. Panic did not come all at once. It crept in, like a shadow slipping through steel walls. The second dragon lay motionless now. Breath gone, eyes glazed. 2 kills, no hesitation. No wounds on the human, no visible armor. No outside interference. The pit, the Empire's greatest symbol of control, had been reduced to silence. In the control towers, Dominion generals paced. Analysts rewound footage, scanning every frame for anomalies. There were none, no energy signatures, no comms activity. No signal from orbit. The man in the pit was alone. One official slammed a fist against the console. This is not possible. But it was happening. Worse, it was spreading. On Dominion-linked worlds, the broadcast went viral. Systems that once feared the dragons were now chanting a name they had never even been given. The humans watching from Earth-linked outposts stood still, their faces unreadable. They knew. This was no accident. It was a demonstration. The Empire had created this stage to mock Earth, to break their spirit in front of the stars. But now, the stars were watching for a different reason. Not in pity. Not in hatred. In awe. The High Executor of the pit ordered the remaining gates sealed. But it was too late. The third gate had already begun to open. And in that moment, even the guards stopped pretending to be calm. He's not just fighting, one whispered. He is making a statement. Screens began flickering. Communications overloaded. And at the center of it all was a man with no armor, no title, and no name spoken aloud, just the sound of his breath. And the silence of those who finally understood. The Empire was no longer in control. It was being hunted. The final gate opened without sound. There was no roar. No blast of flame. Just a low vibration, deep and ancient, that rolled through the pit like a heartbeat buried in stone. The crowd leaned in again. But this time, no one cheered. What stepped out was not just another dragon. It was the original. First of its kind. The one the Dominion called the Flame Father, larger than any ship. Wings folded like mountains, eyes like burning suns. Its body was covered in old scars, from wars, from rebellions, from creatures no longer remembered. Air itself changed around it. Heat warped the ground. Light bent. The pit cracked beneath each step. The human stood still. His chest rose and fell, slow and even. No weapon. No stance. He only watched. And the dragon watched. Back. It circled him once, then stopped, its massive head lowered, not to strike, but to meet his gaze. A pause. Then it bowed. The entire arena shook. Not from fear, from respect. The creature that had once burned cities to ash was bowing to a human. The crowd gasped. The guards stepped back. Some Dominion leaders turned away from the screens, unable to process what they had just witnessed. The predator had been recognized. By another predator. And in that moment, without a word, the message was clear. Earth did not send a sacrifice. It sent a king. And just like that, the pit meant to break a human became his throne. The dragons bowed, the Empire trembled, and the galaxy watched in silence. If this story left you breathless, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who still believe in human limits. The next story will go even deeper.